Be 99 degrees today. Winter is coming. Welcome back. So a couple weeks ago, I posted my top 10 Frank Zappa albums. I'm now kind of going a little more in depth into each one. And today we're going to discuss number 5, which is Burnt Weeny Sandwich. If you have a top 10 Zappa list, or I'd love to know in the comments below your opinions about this album, about whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong, what you think should be in the top 10, etc., etc. Quarantine, we all have some extra time, so let's spread the love of Frank, man. Like, I'm all about the Zappa. But anyways, my number 5 favorite is Burnt Weeny Sandwich. This was released in 1970. I think it is safe to say it is one of his more, for lack of a better term, underwhelming releases, but that does not mean it is not an absolute unique, singular, incredible listen. It is one album, 2 sides. It starts and ends with doo-wop numbers. Those are the only vocals on the entire album. Short little, I think 3-minute songs is all they are. Covers each, about 3 minutes long, which doesn't really set the tone for the rest of the album, because the rest of the album is some of Frank's more like non-Stravinsky-esque instrumental pieces. They're not that jarring. They're not that like fragmented. They're kind of really melodic, and yeah, there's some complex pieces in there, but it's not, I think, one of his more challenging listens. But at the same time, it's still this just incredibly rewarding. One of those things you can dive into for years and years and years and get out of. So it starts off with WPLJ, White Port Lemon Juice, a nice little funky horn, kind of like a doo-wop number. Then there's Igor's Boogie, which is a short little instrumental piece. Then you get the overture to Holiday in Berlin, which has these wonderful out-of-tune horns. It is just amazing to think that Frank let this be released, because he was very particular about what he released, but then he came to a point where it was a warts and all type thing, where I'm going to show it all to you. And this is one of those where he shows it all to you, because these are some out-of-tune horns. That abruptly breaks down and goes into like a guitar solo, percussion, kind of weird, slinky, slithery jam. And then that goes into Holiday in Berlin proper, which is one of Frank's most beautiful melodies. It's like, there are lyrics to this that the Flo and Eddie band would later do about their time in Germany when they kind of got caught in a riot. But this is the instrumental version, ends with a guitar solo, and then goes into ABC, another instrumental piece. And then side 2 is Little House I Used to Live in its entirety. There's a piano intro, which the 78 band would later do as an orchestrated piece with like Tommy Mars and Peter Wolf kind of leading the charge. There's the Little House I Used to Live in kind of proper, I think, that the Flo and Eddie band used to do, that big over-the-top instrumental number. And then it goes into some amazing solos. 18 minutes of this, I think it's about 18 minutes long. And then at the end, Frank interacts with the audience and tells some jokes. And then it ends with another doo-wop number. But it's just one of those that I've been going back to over and over and over, since the 80s, that I kind of just never get tired of. And it just seems to reward many, many listens. But yeah, Holiday in Berlin, I think, is the best track on here. It is one of my all-time favorite Frank tracks. It is just a beautiful melody, just a beautiful composition. But everything on here is just well worth the listen. So I don't have much to say about this album other than check it out. It's probably one of his more easy to digest, I think. But at the same time, worth repeated listens. So anyways, yeah. My number 5, Burnt Weeny Sandwich.